Good afternoon. Hey, I want to talk to you today about something that really not very many people in the business coaching or mentoring space, they don't want to say it out loud because it's really uncomfortable. And it will make some of you defensive before I even finish the sentence. You're the reason you're exhausted in your business. It's not your clients. It's not the economy. It's not how hard business is right now. It's you. And I truly do not mean that as an insult. I really mean it as something that really is going to free things up if you listen to the end. Because if you created the problem, you can absolutely fix that problem. Today, I'm going to give you the exact method that I use with clients to figure out what you should be doing and what you should just be overseeing. And the other things that you should have handed off 6 months ago or longer. And it's going to sting a little, but that's okay. It's going to actually help you see exactly what it's costing you to hang on to this stuff so tightly. The challenging things, the truth, it's sometimes a little difficult to hang on to. But, all right, if you're new here, I'm the Michelle K. I'm a business mentor and strategist, and I'm going to be real clear. I'm not for everybody. I don't do guru tactics. I don't do quick fixes. I don't do it for you. I also don't do fluff. For 33 years, I've worked with over 1,200 entrepreneurs from startup to 8-figure companies. I've impacted definitely at least a 60 million in business growth across a variety of industries. Now, don't get me wrong. That does not make me special. It literally just means that I have made every mistake in my own business and sometimes with others. And I've learned what works and what doesn't, and what's important when you strip away all the hype. So I teach you how to build and scale like a CEO. And we do that with proven systems, solid operations, and business fundamentals that actually work. We don't do what's trending on Instagram. We're not listening to what some 23-year-old with a course theorizes will work. We're talking real business, real strategy for real owners. Every weekday in February, I'm going live to give you straight talk on the 5 pillars that really make or break your business. On Monday, we typically are talking about money and metrics. CEO, it's about clarity on Tuesday, CEO clarity on Tuesdays. And that could be anything from technology to mindset, anything in between. On Wednesdays, we're talking about sales without the sleaze. Thursday, system and scale. And then Friday, it's real talk. So if you're done with the hype and you're ready to build something that actually works, you're in the right place. So I want to start by telling you about a law firm owner I worked with. We met probably 18 months, or we probably met about 18 months ago. Yeah. Really sharp guy. His firm, he had been doing that for about 8 years. They had 4 or 5 attorneys. They had a couple of paralegals, an office manager, and he had a great book of business. But every external measure, that showed he was successful. But he came to me because he hadn't taken a vacation in 3 years. He'd taken trips, but he brought his laptop. And he worked while his family was hanging out at the pool, at the theme parks, whatever. He had gotten to the point he was sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. He was super short with his staff. Things were not going well at home. He talked about having moments that he would just sit at his desk and literally stare at the wall because he didn't know what to do first. And it wasn't because there was nothing to do. It was because there was so much to do, and he felt like everything was equally important. It really was becoming a big problem. So what we did when we first met is I asked him just to walk me through everything he did in a typical week. What's it look like? Not what you're supposed to do, but what are you actually doing in a week? And he talked for, I don't even know, 20, 30, 40 minutes. He talked about reviewing every invoice before it went out, approving every client email, handling his own scheduling, sitting in on depositions he didn't need to be in, mostly because he wasn't confident yet that anyone else could handle it the way he could. Does that sound or feel familiar? He was writing the newsletter for the firm, taking care of the social media, and he literally approved every vendor invoice over $200. And every new hire, he trained them personally. He answered client calls, and those were calls that a lot of them his office manager should have been able to handle. When he finally stopped talking, I asked him one question. How many of those things can only you do? He started to answer me, and then he stopped. Because as he started to answer and give the excuse that I hear over and over again, I was like, I want you to stop and think about that for just a minute. Stop and think. How many can only you do? The honest answer, it's typically, 4 to 15, somewhere in there. Everything else someone else should have been doing, could have been doing. There was somebody probably on the payroll in a firm that size that could have handled it. He was paying attorneys and paralegals and office managers, and he was doing their job. He couldn't let it go, and it was literally destroying him and his firm. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Think about your situation, even if you're a solopreneur. Okay. Why you can't stop even when you know you should. Here's the thing that I've learned about business owners, and I've been one myself, and it's stuff that nobody says out loud. It's not that you're doing too much and you don't realize it. Most of us, we know we're doing too much. We know we should delegate. You know you should be getting help. You know you can't keep running at this pace, but you keep doing it anyway. And the reason? It's not laziness. It's not stupidity. It's typically one of three things, or a combination. The first one, number one, is control. You built this. It's your baby. You know how it's supposed to work. You've seen what happens when you hand it off to somebody else to do it, and it comes back wrong, and you have to fix it anyway. So what's the point? It's easier and safer. I'll just do it myself. Guilty. What you're not calculating is the cost of that control. Every task that you hold on to that someone else could handle, it is stealing the time that you could spend on the work that literally only you can do. And we're going to get to a solution here really shortly. It's 3 steps. It's really not tough. The second, it's identity. You've been the person who does it all by themselves for so long. You don't know who you are if you're not doing everything. Letting go, it feels like losing. Man, do I remember that feeling. You're becoming less essential. Here's the reality. The business owner that does everything, you're not more essential. You're more replaceable because you're spending your highest valued hours on tasks that any competent hire could handle. And the third, that's because you don't have the systems to hand things off. That one, if you have 1 or 2, number 3 almost always goes along with it. That's the real one. The one most people will never admit. You know you should hand it off, but when you try, it literally falls apart because nothing is documented. It all lives up here. Again, guilty, guilty, guilty. When you try to explain how you do something, it takes longer than just doing it yourself. So you forget it. Forget it. I'll just do it myself. It's faster. It's easier. That's the trap. And we're going to come back to that because it does matter. First, I want to show you what doing everything is actually costing you in real money, dollars in your pocket, because I want you to feel the number. Okay, let's go back to the law firm owner. And I've got his numbers written down here because we talked about it. And he gave me permission. I don't share my client list, but he gave me permission to share this. So his billing rate was $4.50 an hour. That's what clients paid him for 1 hour of his expertise, his strategy, his judgment. When we added up all the tasks he was doing that someone else should be handling, 30 hours a week. 30 hours a week that should not have been his. 30 hours a week at $4.50 an hour. Now, most of us aren't making that, but that's $13,500 a week in lost billing for him every single week. Let's do the math. In a year, that's $702,000 in revenue that didn't exist in his business because he was posting on social media. He was sitting in on depositions he never should have been in. He was reviewing invoices and emails. Now, if you're saying $4.50 an hour, that's not me, let's scale it down. Let's say you're a coach. Your time is worth, let's say, $150 an hour. If you're spending 20 hours a week on work that somebody else could do, answering emails, scheduling your social media, in a year, that's $156,000. Okay, you don't make $150. Great. How about $75 an hour? 15 hours of work that is not yours. It costs you $58,500 a year. That's not theory, guys. That's real dollars out of your pocket. Real dollars that you don't get in your business because your highest valued hours are being consumed by your lowest value tasks. It's not just the money. What does that low-level work do to your brain, to your body? Your ability to think and lead clearly. You can't do good strategic work if your brain is buried in administrative chaos. You can't make good decisions if you're doing what he was doing, running on 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night and having a to-do list a mile long. Ask me how I know. You can't grow a business when the owner, you, are the bottleneck in everything. Something has to change. And I'm going to give you a tool that I use with my clients to figure out exactly what needs to change and where to start. We don't want those blank stares at the wall. So, we're going to go with the red, yellow, green method. I've used this for years. We sat down and he and I started on an exercise that I have every one of my clients go through. And it literally changed everything. Now for him, it took a while. Hour and a half. But he called me 2 weeks after, said it was the most valuable time he'd spent in multiple years of running his firm. Again, red, yellow, green. You get it. Traffic light. Not tough. Everyone can follow the logic. And it's really as simple as it sounds. You're going to take every single task in your business and you're going to assign it a color. Red, that's only you can do it. Not you are the most important person to do it, not that you prefer to do it, or this is the way we've always done it. No, 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 no. Not that you're better at it than anybody else. This is only you can do it. Red tasks, they're where your specific expertise, your relationships, your authority, your vision can't be replaced. Things where if someone else did it, the outcome would be different in a way that would actually impact your business, your clients, your bottom dollar. For a law firm owner, those red tasks, they're typically complex legal strategies, key client relationships, high stakes negotiation, sometimes hiring decisions, some levels of hiring decisions, and the overall vision for the firm. That's it. Everything else, it's yellow or green. Now, for a consultant or coach, let's talk about it. Red tasks, they're about delivering your core training, your speeches, your coaching methodology. It's about making strategic client decisions or creating content that represents your unique point of view and your unique voice. And then managing relationships that drive your business. That's red. Yellow. Yellow means you need to oversee it, but not do it. Yellow tasks, you have to have some judgment in it. You have to check the standards and make sure that there's final approval. But you don't need it started. You don't need to finish it. You just need to check it. Somebody else is doing the work. They finish it. They bring it to you. You approve it, review it, change it, course correct if you need to. You move on. Okay, for that law firm owner, the yellow tasks, they were reviewing high-value client emails, the tippity-top ones, before they went out, because there was a relationship there. Approving vendor payments above a certain dollar figure, and that is not $200 in a firm his size. He did still need to be in the loop on these things, but he didn't have to be in the weeds. Okay, that's yellow. Green. Green means you should not be touching it at all. Green is anything that a competent person with the right training can handle without your involvement. Now, that can be an employee, or that can be a contractor or a consultant. There's a variety of ways to look at that. Scheduling. He was scheduling his own appointments. He was actually answering a lot of the phone calls. Basic bookkeeping. Posting social media. Drafting routine emails. Processing invoices. Onboarding and admin. Answering regular common client questions that some of his other staff could answer. Those were things he was all doing. These were never meant to be your tasks long term. You took them on at the beginning because you were doing it all. You were starting out, but you never let them go when you could have. Now, here's where it actually gets real. When the law firm owner and I talked, what we found is he had 67 tasks on his weekly list. Okay? 67 tasks, 8 were red. Only 8. Nobody else could do them. 22 were yellow. He needed to look at them before they went forward. Maybe make some adjustments, have them come back, look at them again. Finally, 37 were green. They should never have been on his plate for a long, long time. And again, let's go back to that. He was a $450 an hour attorney doing 37 tasks every week that somebody at $20 an hour as an administrative assistant, even part-time, could handle. When we did the math on that, he got real quiet. And he actually said, I'll never forget it. I'm the most expensive administrative assistant in history. Yep, you sure are. And the reality is that's what most business owners are doing. Because we don't slow down long enough to look at the basics. So here's how you're going to do this for yourself. You're going to get a piece of paper and you're going to write down every single thing you do in a week. Not what you're supposed to do, but what you actually do. I want you to set a timer for 15 minutes and play a little game with yourself, beat the clock. See if you can get it done in that time frame. Then you're going to go through each item and you're going to assign it a color. Is it going to be red? Is it going to be yellow? Is it going to be green? I like to actually use highlighters for that. I have to go buy myself some more because I do this actually once a quarter at a minimum to make sure, because scope creep, yeah, it can happen in your business too, not just with your clients. And I need to make sure that I'm only taking care of red level tasks. All right. That 15 minutes is going to be so incredibly important. You have to be honest with yourself also. The temptation with most business owners, especially the first time you do it, is to make everything red because it's safer. You feel justified. You figure that if someone else had the right training, they might be able to do it, but it'd take too long to train them. That is not a red task. Now, I want you to look at your green list. This one's really important because those will be your first hires or your first delegations to a team member that's already on your team. It's really simple. Now, if you don't have a team, your green list, your first hire, this starts creating your job description. An EA, an executive assistant, they can handle most of the green tasks for most service-based business owners. Part-time, 20 hours a week, $20 an hour, $400 a week. If that frees up 20 hours of your time and you're at the lowest level, maybe you're only making $75 an hour, you just created $1,500 a week in value for yourself and your business for a $400 investment. I'll take that math every day. That's not an expense. That's a smart business move. That's a CEO move. That's going to put money in your pocket. Now I want you to look at your yellow list. This is the danger zone because these, they need systems. They need checklists. They need templates. They need a clear set standard so somebody else can do the work and bring it to you just to review. And that needs to happen without a bunch of chaos. Here's the thing. This, my friends, this is where a lot of business owners hit the wall. They go through, and it happens with clients all the time. They do the red, yellow, green audit. They get it done. They're so excited. They start looking at those green tasks, even solopreneurs. Okay, that's who I'm going to hire. Then they see what they have to delegate. They get ready to hand things off, and guess what? They can't. They can't. Because they don't have the checklists, the templates, the standards. Because nothing is written down. It all lives up here. And then they think, okay, I'll just explain it. I'll just explain it. I don't have to put a process together. Wrong. Just like you need to know your numbers, you need to know your processes. It is a huge challenge. And so they try to delegate after they've given a little bit of information, not all the information, because it's not written down. And they haven't thought through everything that they do and how they get to the results. Everything falls apart, literally, and they take it back. And the answer they give themselves, it's just easier. I'll do it myself. And the cycle, it starts all over again. But that's the next conversation we're going to have. We're going to have a conversation on that next week. How do you get everything out of here and into a system that someone else can actually follow and execute without you holding their hand every step of the way? Because you don't have time for that. Because the audit, the red, yellow, green, that's just step one. Knowing what to hand off, it doesn't help. It does not help if you don't know how to do it. But we'll get there. Today, we start right here. One action, just one. And I can't remember if I've showed these to you before, but this is something I use in my own business. So I have little baby bricks. These are actually made like actual bricks. One action, one small brick at a time. And I send these to my clients because every day we make a decision. What are we building? And we remember it's in the one small action, the basics, that we get back to building our business. So today, that one small action is you're going to do the red, yellow, green audit. That's it. Today. Today. Not this weekend. Not when things chill out. I mean, I'm so busy. Remember, it's your fault. I know, that's rough. But again, I'm not for everybody. I will not do fluff. I won't do BS. I'm going to tell you, I've done it myself. I feel it. I know it. I've used every excuse there is. Things aren't going to calm down. You have to make a decision, and you have to take an action. It's the problem we just talked about. So your one action today, before the end of the day, red, yellow, green audit. Grab your piece of paper and at least set a timer for 15 minutes. See what you can write down. Think about everything you did. Did you make phone calls? Did you reply to emails? Did you create content? Did you edit videos? Did you write contracts? Were you working in sales? Did you send invoices? Every single thing. And each one gets a color. Then you're going to count your greens. That number will tell you exactly how much of your exhaustion you've created for yourself. And I don't say that to make you feel bad. I literally say it because it means you have the power to fix it. You can change it. The law firm owner we talked about, we spent 3 months implementing what came out of that 1 hour audit. He switched up those 30 hours of green and yellow stuff, gave it to the staff that needed it. He hired a part-time EA, 15 hours a week. 6 months later, he came back to me and he said, he actually wrote it in a review for me. You actually saved my life and my marriage, my family. Because my health was declining. I wasn't sleeping. Now I'm sleeping 7 or 8 hours a night. He'd gone on 2 vacations, and he didn't take his laptop. That is impact that matters. Oh, and his revenue? This was my favorite part. 31% up. Because he was doing the work that mattered. The highest value work for himself instead of everybody else's stuff. Now, he didn't work less because he wanted to work the number of hours. But I see a lot of clients that go, I actually don't have to work as much. But even though he wasn't working less, he said, I'm working different. I'm working on the right things. Guys, you built something worth protecting. Protect it by running your business like a CEO instead of an operator that does everything because they're afraid to let anyone else touch it. Do the audit. Know your colors. Come back next week because we're going to talk about how do you actually hand things off without everything falling apart, because there's a way to do it. You can go figure it out on your own if you want to, but why not use the years that I've had doing this? I'm the Michelle K. Please go do your audit right now while it's fresh. I'll see you next week. Oh, and do me a favor, actually. Drop in the comments how many greens did you find this week? I really want to know. Remember, you don't have a time problem. You've got a problem of letting go. And today you figured out exactly how to start fixing that problem. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.